Thank you, Melissa. We have new video now of a woman who's accused of assaulting a man she met on a dating app. She's accused of trashing his home, giving him chemical burns in the process because he refused to give her money. The arrest papers say this woman, Kaylee Medina, met the victim on a dating app called Seeking Arrangement. They went on a date November 11th. They kept in contact. Police say on Tuesday morning, Medina went to the victim's house. It was 2 a.m. When he let her in, police say she wanted $2,000. He refused. She went into a fit of rage. She trashed the house, stole a Dyson hairdryer, poured laundry detergent on him, which got into his eyes. She stole his iPhone, they say, and a security camera and ran away. She was arrested overnight.
I think these things are probably happening more often than what we're told. I think in some instances people may be embarrassed by the fact that they got catfished into a situation where they got assaulted or robbed. If you don't report it when it happens, we're never going to be able to hold somebody accountable and make an arrest like this.
Some of the stolen property has been recovered. Medina is charged with a few other crimes she has been in the past, like aggravated assault to a security officer, and driving while intoxicated.
Shalom, like to say, call on Yamla, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kakadash, the balance to the Apostle, Ezra, and Millstone, peace, citation, hope for elect, Shalom. And the title of this video is going to be, Give Not Your Strength to Woman, Testimony. So, pretty much, as you can see from the first video, this was like kind of a little similar to what I heard about in my family story. So, because this is pretty much recent, and it's kind of been just fucking with my head to some extent, because it's like damn, like you got a lot of wicked women out here, bro, and it's not even a joke. It's to the point where it's like, no matter what you do for them or how you support them, they just do some fuck shit like this. Okay, and I just would like to bring out this article right here, and pretty much goes along with the first video. Just a little bit more information on it. So it says sugar dating makes 61-year-old sugar daddy blind after woman 26-year-old throws detergent. And she basically threw detergent in his eyes, as you can see from what the video was saying. And it says a mugshot of Kaylee Renee Medina alongside a representative image of that dating photograph. So it says a woman in the Texas state of the U.S. was arrested after she reportedly damaged an elderly man's apartment and allegedly poured detergent over his eyes. The man, according to the New York Post, subsequently lost his vision. Sugar dating went awry. What happened? And it says, according to reports, the woman identified as 26-year-old Kaylee Renee Medina met the 61-year-old man over a sugar daddy dating app. In online dating culture, a sugar daddy is a rich older man who lavishes gifts on a young woman in return for her company or sexual favors. It's part of sugar dating, also called sugaring, a pseudo-romantic transactional sexual relationship. Transactional ties are linked by way of money, gifts like designer goods, or other material benefits in exchange for companionship or dating-like relationship. According to report by WOAI TV, the woman had a dinner date earlier in November. After meeting over Seeking dating app over this online platform, young women look up to older, wealthier men. The man later claimed that while the first dinner with the girl went all right, she showed up unannounced late in the night at his apartment this Tuesday. Police said, in quote, they talked and drank some wine when suddenly she asked him for $2,000. He told her that he didn't have that kind of money, and she freaked out. The girl then allegedly destroyed his flat screen TV, entertainment system, a painting, and then damaged several walls. Woman ran away with iPhone hairdryer. Police, when the man purportedly asked Medina to stop destroying his home, she allegedly threw laundry detergent over his head. This, the police said, have burned his eyes and blinded him. According to the police, the woman then snatched her former date's iPhone, passport, surveillance camera, and a hairdryer before fleeing. The man, according to police, then crawled out inside and cried for help. He was taken to a local hospital with chemical burns to his eyes and cuts on his legs. Upon investigation, the accused Medina was arrested soon after. So yeah, man. It shows you that as old as you are as a man, it's like you have to move with wisdom when it's coming to dealing with women, especially with women that's like way younger than you. Because if she's dating you for your money, more than likely she's gonna be that type of woman that's gonna try to, get you set up to get killed for that money. And now in this situation, right, in my family, so you had it to where my mom's uncle, which is technically, my great uncle, my mom's side. So what had happened was, it got to the point where he went as far as traveling to DR because he had money like that. Like he had a business, so when he was selling gold, and then he also has like a his name on some construction business and things of that nature. So he was pretty much making money. And when he had money, he was traveling. And originally his first wife was actually, he married her in America. And the second woman that he got with now, he found her in a brothel, which is basically, a whorehouse. And I was over there in Santo Domingo. And mind you, when it's coming to women like that, in that type of environment, majority of the times they know how to pretty much move in terms of like doing things like tricking men out their money. And sometimes they may even be working for a pimp, and they'll be a trap to lure you in to go as far as, pretty much getting you set up. And I forgot what age he was specifically, but he was either in his 50s or probably like his mid or early 50s when he dated her. And she was like, I'd say probably in her late 20s or so when he found her. And she already had like 2 kids that were young. And she basically had to go by means of being a whore to pretty much make money to, make ends meet in that country, because she was hella broke. She was very skinny when she was out there in that country, and eventually she gained a lot of weight. Not really like fat, but like she put on a decent amount of weight. I mean, she pretty much got Americanized and got over here. And the stupid thing my great uncle did was he went as far as putting his strength in this woman. He married her over there in Santo Domingo. He basically left my my great aunt by marriage, because technically he was married to the first wife in America, and then eventually he decided to kind of break up with her. He didn't officially divorce her. He just pretty much like left her, because if you was to declare divorce in America, it'll have to be through the court system, things of that nature, filing for certain papers or whatever. Which back in ancient times, we didn't do that type of things. Like if you was to divorce a woman, you would just basically, do what he did, which he left her. And he did that before she got schizophrenia. I'm not sure how she got it afterward, because eventually she, got, with another man or so. And then eventually, I don't know, she had a nervous breakdown or some shit. So she was really going through it. And she was she really wanted to be with him. And my uncle kind of did her dirty, because what he did was he ended up leaving her because of the fact that my mom went to a party, and then pretty much my uncle's first wife wanted to go to the party too, and my uncle didn't want her to do that. And then eventually I feel like my uncle just took matters too far, because it's not like she was a hoe or anything. I mean, personally, I felt like he should have gave her another chance, because she was really pleased to be with him. And at the same time, it's like he he pretty much just left her, and then he blamed my mom for it. He was a little upset at my mom for a decent amount of time. And then my uncle, he pretty much had a daughter too, by his actual blood daughter. When he left his first wife, he left the daughter as well. So he used to be sending money, but then the second wife that he found from the whorehouse, she's pretty much was behind him not sending money over there to the first wife, and and to the daughter. And basically that just pretty much like messed up the whole the family structure right there when he left his first wife and he had left his daughter. And then what had happened was, it got to the point where, my uncle's first wife, his daughter, basically, she ended up having kids, and then eventually they got into foster care because she was dealing with a drug dealer, and then they ended up, seeing that there were drugs in the apartment, and then eventually that's how the whole family separated from there. But she still has contact with her daughters and things of that nature, but she's not really right in the head because she's bipolar, and then she got other like issues as well. And pretty much, long story short, what had happened was, what really wanted me to bring out the story was the fact that how, the second wife that my uncle got with in Santo Domingo, she's a witch, because what it is like my uncle never, he was a God-fearing man at one point. Like he, I'll say like in the world, in a sense, like, he at least believed in the Most High, of course, by way of Christianity, he was a Seventh-day Adventist. But what had happened was, later on, it got to the point where he ended up stopped believing in God. He stopped believing in the Most High. And then he pretty much ended up, eating pork. And he grew up not eating pork at one point, but he just didn't care. And then even my uncle's brother at one point would try to tell him the truth about the woman that he's with. And he would try to not talk to my uncle, to my other uncle named Carlos. He would try to not talk to him. You see, because of the fact of the matter is that he didn't want to hear the truth. And he's stupid, because at the end of the day, his brother was trying to help him. And my uncle, like, he just basically started doing some, like, some dumb shit afterwards, He started putting the business and, basically his second wife's name, which he got from Santo Domingo. He started putting the business in her name, the restaurant business, which she liked doing hair, so he should have pretty much had a business like that centered around, a hair salon. But instead, she basically had the business where he invested in for them to have a restaurant. He started buying TVs and all that other shit, and then eventually the business started doing bad because, there weren't really as much customers. And she didn't want him in the business space. She always wanted him out, because my uncle's brother, what he did was he caught her, with another man. Basically, she was cheating on him behind his back. Because my uncle had come to the point in time where he couldn't really do nothing sexually for her when he was very old, as it already is, Because, like, he was, like, let's say around this time, like, he was in his 80s or so. And then what had happened was, it got to the point where there was one time where she had because she would use the vehicle that he used to be driving when he used to drive at one point. So she used the vehicle and she started to drive and things of that nature. So it got to the point where he started using the she used the vehicle and he got a ticket, and then he's over here like trying to say, how the hell did he get a ticket at a hotel, for a hotel parking. So clearly what she did was she was at a hotel. And why was she at a hotel? Most likely because she was dealing with some other guy, and she's very whorish after all, because of the fact that she used to work in a brothel when she was in Santo Domingo. And that's why the saying goes, you can't make a whore out of a housewife, because she's going to have too many spirits on her that she's not going to be able to settle down. I'm not going to lie, one thing about my uncle's second wife that he married in Santo Domingo, she was very smart. She knew how to move, and more than likely, when you're dealing with a harlot, they're going to have that level of intelligence where they're going to know how to, get men out of their wits. They're going to make men run out of their wits for them. They're going to use their beauty to persuade men. And they're basically going to go as far as trying to, milk everything out of the man financially. And they're going to use the man towards their advantage. Some women will even go as far as trying to set up your death, your demise, you know, trying to hurry up that you could pretty much pass away. They'll even try to get a hitman to set you up, you know, just to get your money so that they could live their whorish life and don't have to live under the patriarchal rule. Because when it's coming to these women, they want to basically run things their way. Just like with that guy Raymond Sosa, where his wife that he got in Mexico, she tried to set him up with a hitman, but then instead that hitman turned out to be an investigator, so turned out to work for the police force and things of that nature. And then eventually it was a sting operation, and they charged it like it was actually a crime, because more than likely if she was to really got with an actual hitman, you know, she would have pretty much set him up. And then eventually she was like, you know, crying, acting like, oh, she's seen his death, you know, and she lied about it. So long story short, going back to what I was saying about the about my great uncle, pretty much he ended up dying in Santo Domingo, because like, you see, one thing about my aunt, she would which is his second wife, I meant, so which will be his say basically it will be my great aunt by marriage, you know. So what had happened was you know, he ended up like, you know, he had cancer, and what it turned out was, I feel like she was probably like trying to sicken in him, you know, because everything he will always say is his wife, his wife, his wife, you know, like his wife is his God, which is a damn fool. And that's why Proverbs 31 verse 3, I'm gonna bring the scripture out real quick, says, give not thy strength unto woman, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Because everything about him was about his wife, you know, like anything you try to tell him something, I'll try to tell him about natural health or soul, try to teach him certain things, you know, like even like my mom would do. He would always be like, oh, his wife buys this, his wife buys that, or everything was his wife. And then he's got to the point where he just like, he used to not eat pork at one point, but then it's like he started doing it. And then it got to the point where I remember what it is that his second wife's daughter, what it is, she has a man in the crib that's pretty much like low-key like a bum in a way, because like he don't work or whatever. Not sure if he's really working now, but he likes to scam. And what it is like he stole $500 from my uncle, and my uncle wanted him out the house. He tried to kick him out, but then it's like my aunt, instead, she wanted him to be back in the house. So yeah, it's pretty much whatever she says that goes. And it's to the point where it's like she don't care about him and how he thinks and how he feels. And my uncle, what he did was he got that house in Santo Domingo that's like $250,000 worth for a home, which is like $250K. What she did was she ended up living in that house with her family, you know, and basically the house is in her name, and he put the house in her name. And my uncle kind of wanted the house back or whatever the case is, and he got upset about it. I remember one time when I used to be over there chilling with my cousin, you know, I remember that time my uncle claimed that he wanted the house back. He said F that shit, you know, and I was in the morning, and then I was like, you know, sleeping at the time. I was like, wait, what happened? Because I kind of woke up because of that. You know, he was kind of arguing and complaining with his woman about it. So now it got to the point where my aunt, she did some crazy shit where she actually did the deed, because she originally wanted to go to Santo Domingo over in the time of Christmas, right? And you know, obviously the fall and the winter, those are some really like, you know, times where witchcraft, you know, is at its peak, you know, especially around the fall, you know, Halloween especially in particular. But she went there around the Christmas time, and I think his death was announced on Thursday, like last like Thursday on the 28th, because what had happened was I was, because the thing is that like before that whole flight thing happened, I went over there with my family, right, to go meet him in the Bronx, and we saw him. He was fine. It looked like he was just, he was just laying down in the bed, kind of tired. He was always in the bed all the time because of the fact that he had, some sickness or whatever. And then, I don't know, some shit happened where my aunt was basically calling, she did mention that, like, he wanted to die over in Santo Domingo, and he never really said that at all, And if anything, he was saying that the doctor was saying that, like, the cancer's, healing up and everything is fine. Because, my uncle, he has, like, pretty strong genes, Even though his brother's, like, 3 years older than him, because he was, like, around, I think, 86 or so, and his brother's 3 years older than him, he looked like he could live longer than his brother. So he basically was being sickened, I feel like, by my aunt, which is his second wife, because of the fact that how she mentioning about his that he wanted to die over there. But the thing is that when his second wife, when her mother died, she brought her mother over to this country in America to die. You know what I mean? And if anything, like, when my uncle, he went over there to Santo Domingo, and he's not supposed to be over there for that long or so, because she wanted to come back the 20th. Because of the thing is that, like, he has doctors over here in America which are better than the ones out there in Santo Domingo. She was claiming that her family she got 2 doctors in her family, which I feel like that was kind of a lie. So what had happened was there was a video which she didn't show my mom. She showed my uncle's nephew, which is his brother's son, named Carlito. She showed him the video about what had happened, and then the video looked like my uncle was drugged, because the way he was kind of discombobulated, he was like dozing off a little. And then my mom got the video from my nephew, right? And the thing is that, like, why would she only announce death to to Carlito, and she will announce it to my mom, but she didn't, like, kind of keep us, like, updated. Like, she basically was trying to cover her tracks and what she was doing, and it ended up basically being like she was trying to get rid of him, like, at the same time, but trying to act like she was innocent to it. And then his death happened that quick, and pretty much, like, the way she was in the video, in the beginning of it, there was already somebody else, I don't know, some guy that most likely related to her, and some other woman that was related to her as well. And then she's over here touching his head, like she's trying to, like, practice some sort of like a witch, like, basically the way she was touching his head. And I don't know, like, because it seemed like my uncle was a smart guy from what my mom was telling me about, before she got with him. So when she got with him, she basically was, like, poisoning him, like, probably spiking his drink, practice some witchcraft on him. You can't put nothing past a woman, especially that is a thought, that works in a brothel, because more than likely they're gonna be dealing with people that, that know how to move in terms of, like, in the dark net, like, that do, like, certain type of illegal activities that, the government may not be aware of. Now, all of it is that my mom is just working on trying to get, his first wife and his daughter to basically be in that apartment, in that condo that is in the Bronx, because originally it doesn't belong to my uncle's second wife that was in Santo Domingo, because the marriage in Santo Domingo don't necessarily mean anything towards a marriage in America. So she's trying to go as far as trying to get my uncle's daughter and his first wife to live over there. And that's what my mom was trying to work on. But it's really so crazy how he ended up dying, because she claimed that the cancer spread to his bones and on the flight. But I feel like that was a damn lie, because, from when we saw him in Thanksgiving, everything was fine, And the thing is that, why didn't she take him to an actual doctor over there in Santo Domingo? Why she had him in the home all the time? So clearly she had plans, and she was trying to basically get the man executed, quicker than usual. And from what I remember, what my mom was telling me is that what my aunt was doing was she was trying to basically ignore my mom's calls, basically, like, and then eventually my mom don't even really contact her daughter. So what had happened was she ended up so like basically my aunt's daughter, she contacted my mom saying that you have to contact her on WhatsApp, which my mom was doing with that same number that my mom will contact my uncle's second wife. And what had happened was he tried contacting her. She tried contacting her, and then what it is like she was trying to ignore it, and then she eventually ended up answering the phone. And I remember at one point when after my uncle died, my uncle's second wife, what she ended up doing was she announced the death, trying to like act like she didn't really know what happened, how it happened, and whatever. And basically what my mom said, you killed him, which she really did. She was responsible for the death because she was trying to set everything up, and she was trying to cover her tracks. And why would she mention that he wanted to die in Santo Domingo when he never mentioned anything about death or whatever the case is? Why would she mention that before the flight? There's a lot of red flags that went along with it, with her whole plan of going back to Santo Domingo. And why would she want to stay out there with him till the 20th? You know what I'm saying? Starting from Christmas. And at the same time, it's like I heard they buried him the next few days afterwards, after his death. And I bet you if an autopsy is done, which of course that takes money, to actually, do those things. I bet you if an autopsy is done, then it's going to clearly be found that there was drugs in him that they were giving him, to make him pretty much die quicker. Because, one thing about the Most High is that he's always awake. He's 24/7. And you see, when it's coming to a lot of these wicked women, man, the Lord is going to have some extreme judgment on them. And let me bring out the book of Sirach, chapter 19, verse 2. It says, wine and woman will make men of understanding to fall away, and he that cleaveth to harlots will become impudent, weak. So any man that basically... Then the crazy thing about my uncle is that he likes to drink a lot too, and he loved dealing with a lot of women, even though he was with my his first wife, which would actually be my first original great aunt, because that was his woman that he married in America. And eventually that was his judgment, because at the end of the day, it's like you don't put a woman above you. So he was supposed to know better. And on top of it all, the fact of the matter is that, he ended up losing his faith in the Most High, which he didn't believe in the Most High in the right way, according to this truth. So, but other than that, at least he had some sort of faith in the Most High, and he ended up losing that, And then he had this woman to be his strength, and that ended up being his downfall, and that ultimately led to his demise, because she didn't want to be with him, like, don't get me wrong, she been with him for like pretty much about 35 years or some change, she been with him for a decent amount of time, but she really wanted him to pass away quickly so that she could end up living her whorish life. My mom always kind of said it too, before, that she wants to be free. She wants to be free, And the crazy thing about my uncle is that he has a cheap ass government, phone, while his wife has a iPhone, to this latest update. And my uncle's also so stupid to the point where it's like he ended up claiming her kids as his kids, and he tried to act like his actual daughter, from his actual daughter that he had for his first wife. He acted like that wasn't her kid or whatever. But long story short, yeah, my uncle pretty much ended up dying because of his, second wife. And basically the second wife, when it's coming to her daughter, her daughter and her son, they're very slow. They're not really like that competent, and I don't think they will look at their mom at that type of way. And if anything, I always would pretty much go over there, to visit my uncle, during certain like holidays or so, like, in the world, like, Thanksgiving, or even during like Christmas or whatever, if they were around, or New Year's or so, Because one thing about my great uncle, he held like, important history in my life, because my mom, of course, was like a daughter to her, to him. And also, like, he was pretty much almost like a second father to me every time when I used to go over there to chill with my cousin, which technically is not actually my blood cousin, but that's pretty much my cousin by him marrying his second wife and pretty much claiming her kids as his own, like a fool that he is. So we always just ran along with it. I didn't really mention that those were not his kids or so, because of course that will make me blacklisted by the family, so never mentioned that at all. And I'm not even sure if they know them themselves, which they pretty much should know by now because they're in their 20s. And so, the one thing I don't think my uncle's second wife really understood was that if if my uncle got sick on the plane, I'm pretty sure they would have had to did something on the flight to find out what was the cause of his of the issue that he had. And the fact of the matter is that why didn't she take him to an actual doctor around the area in Santo Domingo? So clearly this was a whole setup on how she killed my uncle, my great uncle. And like I said, like, I'm not gonna, of course, let his death, pretty much like mess with my mind, but it's just to the fact that, like, the way she set it up, like, she knew what she was doing, and she had plans. And either way, the Most High Yahweh Shem Yashah, he's not sleeping, so whatever she did, she's gonna pay for that. And let me bring out Proverbs chapter 7. This is going into, like, the wiles of the harlot. It tells you in the blue letter Bible, tells you that. And the word wiles goes into devious or cunning stratagems, which is like basically plans or schemes employed in manipulating or persuading someone to do what one wants, which is basically tricks, schemes, basically like plotting. So it says in Proverbs chapter 7, verse 25, and basically this is going into like the strange woman. Could be physical or it could be spiritual, which is basically like spiritual in terms of false philosophies, but the other meaning of the strange woman also goes into, actually like these wicked ass women, and which, my uncle's second wife was one of them. And it says in Proverbs chapter 7 verse 25, it says, "Let not thine heart decline to her ways, go not astray in her paths. For she have cast down many wounded, many strong men have been slain by her." And then when you also go into the word wound in the second definition in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it goes into a mental or emotional hurt or blow. So it also could be like mental or physical wounded, and when it's coming to like women, they pretty much hold the key to sex, and men in general, they're very sex deprived, so they pretty much also emotionally or mentally wounded for the fact that how they're sex deprived. And when it's coming to like women that they dealt with in their life, some women have broken their hearts and things of that nature. And these wicked ass women, they will pretty much go as far as manipulating you, further inflicting those wounds on you, mentally, and they'll even get you physically set up to get wounded. And verse 27, it says, "Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death." right? And also your body could be, also considered to be a house, pretty much for your spirit. So when it's coming to these wicked ass women, especially one that's a harlot, you best believe she got all type of spirits on her, all type of men DNA on her, and even the physical domain itself. Basically, when she's the one running the house, calling the shots on everything, that's basically what my uncle's second wife was doing. And it was to the point where she doesn't even want basically my uncle's granddaughters over there, which those are his granddaughters by, through his daughter, his actual blood daughter. My aunt didn't really want them over there. My second wife, my uncle's second wife, basically, she pretty much, she didn't really give my uncle thanks for all the stuff that he did for her, because he could have left her over there in Santo Domingo to suffer and be broke. He brought her over here. I guess she felt like being with him for over 30 years was enough of a thanks. See? It goes to show you how wicked women really are. That's why it says in First Ezra chapter 4, verse 25, it says, "Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. Yea, many there be that have run out their wits for woman, and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for woman." So yeah, basically my uncle, he definitely erred for that woman, and then he even perished for her, like a damn fool that he is. And either way, I feel like it was kind of judgment anyway for him kind of leaving his first wife, which she was pleased to be with him, and he pretty much didn't, support his actual daughter anymore. And then eventually, a lot of just things went downhill for, his actual daughter. Because his actual daughter was dealing with all different types of men. She basically didn't have like a father figure, And I think all this shit happened mostly at the time when my uncle's actual daughter was in high school, She didn't have that father figure, and that's the reason why she's pretty much going as far as dating different type of men, because she's trying to seek for that father-like figure. And of course, she's not going to be satisfied with the type of men that she get with. And even got to the point where she even tried being a lesbian about 2 or more times, because I remember one time my mom was over here investigating on her Facebook, because my mom does those type of things, which I kind of do the same thing too, but I don't really like do it towards like certain people. But at the end of the day, it's like my mom was over here seeing her Facebook profile talking about how basically my uncle's daughter, pretty much talking about how she's gonna try woman again. She mentioned that, that means that she did it before, so who knows how many times she done it. Basically she's over here seeing, like, because my what my uncle's daughter does is she goes on Facebook Live, and she basically kind of shows about her lifestyle, what she do, type of people she be with, and basically exposing her business on social media. And she's basically crazy. And that's why my mom doesn't really want to deal with her or talk to her as much. So at the same time, it's like she's trying to go as far as helping her get the that condo. So if it's not written out to my uncle's second wife's name, because if it is, then that means that I don't think we could do anything from there. But trying to go as far as proving that she killed him is going to be a real hell of a situation, because what it is, like, they don't have money for the burial, because of course my uncle took out that money to be for that restaurant, the money for the life insurance. He took it out for the restaurant. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it on that. Just I'm not gonna let something like that weigh me down anyway. I know he's in the spirit world. I know he's pretty much at rest. Probably even realizing how stupid he was to deal with a woman like that anyway. But other than that, he's mostly in his right state of mind in the spirit world now. But with that, hope I made it to edifying, like to get all glory, praise, and honor to Adonai Yahweh, Bashem, Shalom, Yahweh, Bashem, Kakadash, double honors to the apostle, Elsewhere, Millstone, peace, citation, and hope for life, Shalom.